Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we dive into stacks of sources, research, articles, all sorts of things, and pull out the key insights, basically giving you a shortcut to getting really informed on a topic.
That's the goal.
And today, we're tackling a name everyone knows, or thinks they know, Pythagoras. You hear the name, you probably picture triangles, right? High school geometry.
Right. The theorem. A squared plus B squared.
Exactly. But what if I told you that famous theorem is like just the tiny visible part of a massive iceberg? That the actual man, Pythagoras, was way more complex, stranger, maybe even more profound than we usually think.
It's true. He's one of those figures where the legend almost overshadows the reality, or at least the fuller reality.
So that's our deep dive today. We're moving past the math whiz stereotype to explore his lesser-known beliefs, the strange practices, the big philosophical themes. We want to uncover the person, the community he built, which was pretty incredible, and these really deep ideas that shaped his time and honestly still kind of echo today.
And the sources we have are, well, they're fascinating in themselves. We don't have writings directly from Pythagoras, which is a huge challenge.
Right. Nothing survived.
Nothing definite. So we rely on this collection of ancient biographies, people like Iamblichus, Porphyry, Diogenes Laertius, and also fragments, like snippets quoted by later writers from his actual followers.
So it's like piecing together a puzzle from different accounts, sometimes maybe even conflicting ones.
Exactly. It gives us this rare glimpse, but it's fragmented. Still, these sources provide these rich, sometimes contradictory details that, when you put them together, they paint this really vibrant, really complex picture.
Okay. So our mission today is basically to sift through all that, pull out the most vital nuggets of knowledge from these ancient texts, reveal some surprising facts, and maybe connect his ancient wisdom to things that still resonate for you.
That's it. It's exciting, honestly, because we do tend to fixate on one thing, like the theorem, and miss the whole universe the person lived in.
Yeah, like knowing Da Vinci just for the Mona Lisa.
Precisely. And ignoring his engineering, his anatomy. Pythagoras was, by all accounts, this incredible polymath. His influence wasn't just math. It was diet, politics, ethics, the cosmos itself. It's this whole integrated philosophy of life, which is pretty rare.
Absolutely. And that kind of mystery starts right at the beginning, doesn't it? With his birth story.
Oh, definitely. The legends are strong there.
Our sources, they consistently mention this belief that he wasn't just ordinary, that he was maybe the son of Apollo, born in Sidon, Phoenicia. His mother, Parthenis, had her name changed to Pythias, and the baby was named Pythagoras, all apparently linked to a prophecy by Apollo.
And what's really interesting is how the ancient writers handle this. Okay, so some, like Epimenides or Eudoxus, they assert Apollo's direct connection with his mother.
Right.
But others go a bit deeper. They emphasize that, look, no one really denies that the soul of Pythagoras was sent to mankind from Apollo's domain.
So less about literal parentage, more about divine origin for his soul, his wisdom.
Exactly. It implies this profound, maybe innate divine wisdom meant for humanity. It just sets him up differently from the start, doesn't it? Gives his teachings this almost sacred authority.
It totally sets him apart. You have to wonder, how does a birth story like that shape how people see a philosopher, even if it's, considered legend? It gives him this mystical aura. It suggests his wisdom isn't just learned, it's divinely given.
Right. But here's the fascinating counterpoint. Despite that divine origin story, Pythagoras was apparently an incredibly diligent student. He didn't just sit back and wait for revelations.
He actively sought knowledge.
Relentlessly. He was a prodigy, sure, a real intellect from a young age. The accounts mention him studying under some big names. Pherecydes, for one, who was a major early thinker.
Okay.
And Anaximander, the natural philosopher. But maybe most importantly, Thales. Thales of Miletus.
Thales, the father of Western philosophy, or one of them anyway.
Yeah. Moving
Moving from myths to reason. So what did Thales think of young Pythagoras?
The sources say Thales was just blown away. Captivated by Pythagoras' unique endowments, said he surpassed all the other young men.
Wow.
And here's the kicker. Thales, recognizing this potential, apparently told Pythagoras, you need to go to Egypt, learn from the priests of Memphis and Jupiter. And Thales openly admitted that they were the source of his own wisdom.
No way. Thales saying, go learn from my teachers? That's incredible humility.
It speaks volumes, yeah, about Thales and about Pythagoras' obvious brilliance, but it also shows something crucial about Pythagoras. His wisdom wasn't just beamed down, he chased it. traveled everywhere.
To Egypt, Babylonia?
Deep studies with the priests there, soaking up their sacred sciences, math, esoteric knowledge. Then Babylonia, learning from the Chaldean priests, astronomy, astrology.
And he didn't stop there, right? Visited oracles, studied laws in Crete and Sparta.
Exactly. A real intellectual sponge, just absorbing different legal systems, cultures, spiritual traditions, looking for those universal truths.
And when he finally went back home to Samos, he set up this semicircle of Pythagoras, like a public forum.
Yeah, for consulting on public affairs, showing he was engaged civically. But he also had this philosophical cave outside the city, apparently for scientific research and meditation. A bit like Menos, the legendary king.
So a mix of practical engagement and deep contemplation.
Yes, that blend seems key to him. But then the story takes a turn. He reportedly got disgusted with the Samians, his own people, for their scorn for education.
Really? They weren't interested?
Apparently not enough for him, so he decided to leave, like other philosophers before him, seeking somewhere more receptive. Which, raises that big question: how much of his unique teaching was purely his invention versus this brilliant synthesis of everything he'd learned from all these masters and cultures?
That's the million drachma question, isn't it? Maybe he was just a master synthesizer, taking all these threads and weaving them into something new, something distinctly Pythagorean.
Seems likely. A conductor of ancient knowledge, as you put it earlier.
So after all that travel and learning, he ends up in Crotona, southern Italy. And he doesn't just teach, he establishes this community. And it sounds intense, not just a school, but a whole way of life.
Oh, completely. The community in Crotona was pretty unique. The sources talk about the structure, like internal versus external auditors.
What does that mean?
While some heard him within the veil, others without, some saw him, others didn't. It suggests this tiered system, right, based on initiation, commitment, maybe how ready they were for the deeper stuff. Some literally listened from behind a curtain.
Wow, that's incredibly exclusive. Very different from just attending a lecture. And there were different classes within the community too: political, economic, legislative.
Yeah, which shows his philosophy wasn't just navel-gazing. It was meant to be applied to how you govern a city, run an economy, frame laws, practical stuff.
And the people of Crotona actually bought into it, building a temple to the Muses, driving away concubines, asking him to address men and women separately. Sounds like he had a huge impact.
A profound impact, yeah. Shaping not just individuals, but the whole town's standards, their daily practices. But the Pythagorean way went way beyond city rules. It got into every single detail of a disciple's day. Rigorous discipline, physical, mental, spiritual, all about creating harmony.
Right, this is where it gets really interesting. Imagine believing your diet, your clothes, even your dreams are all part of purifying yourself, refining your intellect. It's so holistic.
Totally. Take their mornings, they'd wake before sunrise, right? But not to rush. They'd deliberately compose their souls with lute music.
Music first thing.
Yeah. And singing old hymns, verses from Homer, Hesiod's specifically chosen to soothe and elevate the mind. They even danced, but for agility and health, a disciplined practice.
And their walks weren't just casual strolls.
Nope. Groups of 2 or 3, always in temples or sacred groves, and the purpose was to rehearse the disciplines they had learned. So contemplation in motion, reinforcing their studies together.
What about food? Sounds like that was pretty controlled too.
Very. Lunch was basic. Bread and honey, maybe honeycomb, no wine during the day. Supper was before sunset herbs, maize, some wine, but generally simple. They rarely ate fish, and meat was usually off limits unless it was from specific sacrificial animals, and even then, only for those less advanced. For the core group, strict abstinence.
And they worked out, like physically trained.
Oh, yeah. Rigorous stuff.
Yeah.
Rubbing down, racing, wrestling, leaping with weights. Even oratorical gesticulations, which sounds like training for public speaking, focusing on posture and movement, all designed to strengthen the body in a balanced way.
And the clothes always white and pure. Linen, not wool, no hunting.
Right.
Yep.
White garments, white linen beds, symbolizing purity, and no hunting fits with their whole nonviolence principle. It was all part of this comprehensive system of purification.
And friendship was huge for them, right? Goods of friends are common, a friend is another self.
Absolutely central. Pythagoras himself apparently loved friends exceedingly. It wasn't just a nice phrase. They shared possessions, supported each other. They'd nurse sick friends, console troubled minds, sometimes using incantations, but often, significantly, with music. It was a deeply interconnected, supportive community.
Which brings us to those dietary rules, which seem to go way beyond just health.
They really do. They had mystical, philosophical reasons, generally, avoid anything causing flatulence or indigestion, favor astringent foods like millet thought to promote clarity,
Okay.
reject food foreign to the gods, it supposedly blocked communion, or food deemed sacred too honorable for just eating. Anything that might impede prophecy, purity, chastity, temperance, or even just peaceful sleep that was out. Every meal was like a spiritual exercise.
And the big one, no meat, especially for the inner circle.
Right. The most advanced philosophers were forbidden unjustifiable foods such as was animated, no animal sacrifice, no harming animals, observing most solicitous justice towards them. Pythagoras himself was apparently vegetarian and urged politicians to be too. His argument: how can you promote justice while eating creatures allied to us? He saw this kinship between all living things.
That's a powerful ethical stance, way ahead of its time. But then you get the really specific, almost weird prohibitions, like beans.
Ah, yes, the infamous beans. Forbidden for many causes, physical, psychic, and sacred. Aristotle tried to figure it out. Maybe they resemble body parts, or the gates of hell, their partsless nature, their use in voting.
But there's that other stranger reason, too, about putrefaction.
Yeah, that's the really unsettling one. This belief they arise from decay. The source mentions these, well, frankly, bizarre experiments. Chew a bean, expose it to sun, it smells like human blood. Bury a bean flower, and 90 days later you might find an infant's head, or female genitalia.
Whoa. Okay, that's deeply weird.
It really makes you ask, were these just quirky rules, or part of this incredibly complex system linking ethics, cosmology, maybe even some kind of proto-science about how things affect the body and soul? The bean thing isn't just diet. It's tied to this profound, almost disturbing view of life, death, decay, and transformation.
Suggesting certain foods could literally mess with your spiritual state, your purity, your dreams.
That seems to be the idea. And it wasn't just beans. Specific animal parts were out too: loins, testicles, marrow, feet, heads, seen as symbols of fundamental life principles: basis, generation, increase, beginning, end. Eating them was like disrespecting the essence of life.
Certain fish, too. Mallows.
Right. Melanoris fish, sacred to earth gods, erythinus. Even mallows, because they were seen as the first messenger of the connection between heaven and earth. Too sensitive, too sacred for eating. It's clear every food choice had this heavy, symbolic, ethical, or cosmic weight, all part of that relentless drive for purification and harmony.
It really was a total system. Nothing random about it. Everything connected, aiming for that alignment with the universe. Okay, so all this discipline, the diet, the music, the rituals, it had to be aimed at something, right? What was the big picture? The underlying theory of reality that justified it all?
At the absolute core, number. For Pythagoras and his followers, reality itself was fundamentally mathematical.
More than just counting things.
Oh, way more. Numbers were the fabric of existence, the essence. Their most sacred oath, the one they swore by, says it all. I swear by the discoverer of the Tetractys, which is the spring of all our wisdom, the perennial founts and root of nature.
The Tetractys, that triangle of 10 dots, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Exactly. Summing to 10, the decad, their perfect number. But it wasn't just a cool shape. For them, it was the blueprint of the cosmos. Divine order, harmony, all represented right there. Philolaus, a key follower, put it starkly: number is the sovereign and autogenic force holding everything together. It's the principle and guide of all life. Without it, everything's just chaos, infinite, obscure. Number brings comprehension, creates harmony.
And they had philosophical ideas about individual numbers, too, like one versus the monad.
Yes, very important distinctions. The monad wasn't just the number one, it was unity itself, equality, the source, existing in an intelligible realm. The duad, too, represented otherness, difference, excess, and defect, stretching towards infinity. 3, the triad, signified completeness, beginning, middle, end, applied to anything perfect. It shows the philosophical depth they saw in numbers.
So it wasn't just math as we know it. Numbers were alive, they had qualities, they were the structure of everything, from stars to morality.
Precisely. The fundamental principles governing the whole show. And that leads directly to one of their most beautiful, most resonant ideas: the harmony of the spheres.
The idea that the planets make music as they move.
Kind of, yeah. Pythagoras himself was said to have this amazing ability. He could actually hear it, this universal harmony and consonance of the spheres, a melody way beyond mortal sounds.
He could hear cosmic music.
So the legend goes, And it wasn't random noise. It came from the different speeds, sizes, distances of the planets, all arranged in a certain musical ratio, like a giant celestial orchestra playing this perfect mathematical music.
That's incredible. And for him, music wasn't just nice to listen to. It was medicine,
Yeah.
a tool.
A profound therapeutic tool, absolutely. And a key to understanding the cosmos. He believed music could literally heal, provide remedies of human manners and passions, restore the soul's pristine harmony. He used different scales, diatonic, chromatic, and harmonic, to deliberately shift emotions, correct sorrow, rage, pity, fear, by applying the right melody.
Like musical therapy thousands of years ago.
Exactly. And it was part of their daily routine, remember? Music in the evening to purify the mind for prophetic dreams. Music in the morning to shake off sluggishness and wake the intellect. It was psychological, spiritual hygiene.
And this connection between music and number led to their discoveries in harmony,
Right.
the ratios.
Right. The famous story, probably inaccurate in the details, is him at the blacksmith shop, hearing hammers of different sizes, making different pitches, and figuring out the harmonic ratios, the octave, the fifth, the fourth.
Even if the Smithy story is wrong.
The core idea is revolutionary. He grasped that musical intervals could be expressed as numerical ratios. He mathematically linked the abstract world of number to the sensory experience of sound and harmony. A huge leap.
Connecting art and science.
And solidifying the idea that the cosmos itself is built on these same mathematical principles, the universe literally sings with numbers, which then shaped their view of the physical universe, especially through Philolaus's model.
Right, Philolaus. He didn't put Earth at the center.
No. He proposed a central fire, Hestia of the All, the house of Jupiter, and around this fire 10 bodies danced. The fixed stars, heaven, the 5 known planets, the sun, the moon, the earth, and this mysterious 10th body, the anti-Earth.
An anti-Earth. Why?
Possibly to bring the number of moving bodies to the perfect 10, the decade. But his model, while not heliocentric as we know it, was incredibly advanced. It divided the cosmos. Pure Olympus up high, the cosmos with the planets, sun, moon below that, and then the sublunar realm around Earth, the zone of change and generation.
It's a really sophisticated attempt to map everything out, isn't it?
Mhm.
Trying to find that order, that mathematical harmony in the heavens.
Absolutely. It shows that deep desire to understand the universe as this rational, interconnected, harmonious system governed by number. A quest that, in many ways, science is still on today.
Yeah, the universe as a grand musical instrument, with numbers as the notes. That's a powerful image. Okay, so if the universe is this big, harmonious mathematical structure, how did Pythagoras translate that into how humans should actually live? Into ethics? Into building a society?
Well, the most foundational principle, and maybe the most surprising for Greeks back then, was his teaching about the soul's journey transmigration, metempsychosis.
The reincarnation, basically.
Essentially, yes. He taught the soul was immortal, and after death, it moved into other living bodies. He was apparently the first to really bring this idea into the Greek world in a big way.
And didn't he claim to remember his own past lives?
He did. It's an extraordinary claim. He said he remembered being Athalides, then Euphorbus, the Trojan warrior. He supposedly even recognized Euphorbus's shield somewhere. Then Hermotimus, then a fisherman named Pyrrhus, and finally Pythagoras.
Wow. And he used this knowledge.
Apparently. This memory supposedly allowed him to give providential attention to others, maybe using insights from their past lives to guide them. But the really crucial part, ethically speaking, was that this transmigration wasn't random. It was about divine justice.
Karma. Your actions in one life affect the next.
Exactly, a cosmic system of accountability. And the examples given are pretty snark, designed to make you think twice.
Right, this is where it gets really interesting. Like, souls of cowards end up in women's bodies, violent souls in wild beasts, lustful ones in pigs, frivolous people in birds, and lazy thinkers in fish.
Pretty much. It's a powerful ethical framework, isn't it? A very tangible reason to strive for virtue and avoid vice. If your next life could literally be as a pig, well, you'd pay attention to how you lived this one.
No kidding, that's a strong incentive. So this belief directly fueled their ideas about justice and morality.
Absolutely. His core principle here was radical. It is much better to be injured than to kill a man. Why? Because true judgment happens in Hades, or the soul is accurately appraised. Accountability shifted beyond just earthly consequences.
And he compared justice to a right-angled triangle. How did that work?
It's a beautiful metaphor. Like the triangle has unequal sides but equal powers. The square on the hypotenuse equals the sum of squares on the other sides. Justice maintains this inherent balance and equality even amidst apparent diversity or complexity.
Okay, interesting. And this balance extended to self-control, temperance.
Hugely important. Pythagoras taught that everything irregular should be cut off with fire and sword, a strong metaphor for purging anything leading away from inner harmony.
And that meant practical things, like diet, controlling speech.
Yes, abstaining from meat, avoiding things that dull the mind, practicing silence sometimes for years, to govern the tongue, cultivate stillness, minimizing wine, food, sleep to aid concentration, and actively discrediting fame, wealth, seeing them as distractions.
What about handling emotions like anger or sadness?
They had specific advice. If someone felt rage or despair, the rule was withdraw, seek solitude, digest, and heal the passion. Sounds like ancient emotional regulation, right? Recognizing the need for space. Plus, cultivating resilience, accepting that no human casualties ought to be unexpected by the intelligent. Prepare for life's difficulties.
And their views on whose opinions mattered. Sounds a bit elitist.
It was, definitely. They thought the stupid man should defer to others, especially the crowds. But only the intelligent, who were very few, could really think rightly. Yet despising everyone's opinion was also stupid. It makes you unteachable. So value the wise few, be skeptical of the masses, but stay open to learning.
And pleasure. They weren't big fans.
Very cautious. Avoid pleasure as a danger demanding the utmost caution. Believed it deceives and misleads. The goal wasn't pleasure, but adopting the beautiful and fair and do our duty. Utility was secondary. A strong ascetic streak there.
So it wasn't just about telling people rules. It was this whole intense training program, wasn't it? To prepare the soul for higher knowledge.
Exactly. A holistic regimen for moral cultivation. And this wasn't just for individuals. Pythagoras had a whole blueprint for society, too.
Right. He laid out ideas for laws, government, family.
Yeah, a really detailed vision.
Yeah.
Laws should follow nature, be useful, and crucially be inscribed in the depths of the souls, not just on walls. Internalize morality. Punishment should aim to shame and reform, not just fine people.
What about government? What did he favor?
A mixed constitution, blending democracy, oligarchy, monarchy, aristocracy like Sparta, seeking balance and stability by combining the strengths of different systems.
And the king.
Yeah.
What was his role?
A very high ideal. An animated law must be just, a good general, judge, priest, an imitator of God. Magnanimous, serious, few needs, paternal. Overcome pleasure, use wealth for good. His character should inspire admiration. A tough job description.
Sounds like it. And family life, that was also mapped out.
Very much so. The husband-wife relationship as domestic harmony. The husband as regulator, master, preceptor terms, reflecting the time, of course. The wife as a harmony of prudence and temperance, devoted, patient. Their concord was seen as vital for the whole society's health.
And having children, that was serious business too.
Absolutely. A deliberate, sacred act. Parents should live healthily, temperately, avoid intoxication to produce good offspring, provide a pleasing ingress into his world for the child. Clear duties to parents, too, seen as secondary divinities. Honor them, care for them, correct them gently.
And brothers. Friendship.
Treat others as you want to be treated. Conquer rudeness with worthiness. Brothers are part of him, helping each other. This extended outwards in circles of kinship, self, family, relatives, tribe, citizens, all humanity. Diligence strengthens these bonds.
And he apparently had a real influence on women in Crotona, getting them to simplify their dress, praising their piety.
Yes, the sources mention that. Discouraging costly clothes, leading women to dedicate finery to Juno, promoting marital fidelity, recognizing women's role in the moral fabric, upholding virtue. It shows his influence permeated all parts of society. #tag peculiar practices and symbolic meanings.
Okay, beyond the big philosophical ideas and the strict lifestyle, there are also these stranger stories about Pythagoras.
Yeah.
Almost supernatural stuff, or at least things that would have really boosted his mystique.
Oh, definitely. The legends surrounding him are full of peculiar incidents and these deeply symbolic sayings.
Like his supposed power over animals.
Exactly. There's the story of the Donian bear that was causing trouble. Pythagoras supposedly catches it, strokes it, feeds it barley and fruit, and makes it swear never to harm another living thing again. And the bear keeps its word.
Get out. And the ox that stopped eating beans after he whispered to it.
That one too, in Tarentum. The ox became sacred afterwards, and he supposedly called down an eagle flying over Olympia, stroked it, and sent it back up.
Whether you take those literally or not, they paint a picture of someone with extraordinary influence, right? Either divine power or just an incredible understanding of nature and persuasion.
Absolutely. It adds to that legendary status. Then there's the famous golden thigh.
Ah, yes, he supposedly showed his thigh, made of gold, to Abaris the Scythian.
Right, as proof of his divine connection, maybe linking him physically to Apollo, who was sometimes associated with gold, a visible sign of his special nature.
And maybe the most bizarre, being in two places at once.
Yeah, the claim he was in Metapontum, Italy, and Tauromenium, Sicily, on the same day, talking to disciples in both places, given the travel time back then, well, it's impossible by normal means.
So stories like that just reinforce the idea he was more than human, could bend the rules of reality.
Precisely. It speaks volumes about the reverence his followers had. But maybe more lasting than these miracle stories are those symbolic sayings, the symbola.
Right, these short, cryptic phrases that weren't meant literally, like little riddles containing wisdom.
Exactly. They were meant to be mulled over, like, pass not over a balance.
Meaning, don't be greedy, be fair.
Exactly. Shun avarice, maintain equity, simple phrase, deep ethical meaning. Or poke not the fire with the sword.
Don't make angry people angrier with sharp words.
Perfect. Timeless advice on de-escalation, choosing words carefully. Still relevant.
Pluck not a crown.
Don't violate laws, the crowns of cities. Respect the rules that hold society together.
What about eating at the heart? That sounds grim.
But the meaning is profoundly psychological. Do not afflict ourselves with sorrows. Don't let grief or negative emotions consume your core. Protect your inner peace. That's incredibly insightful, isn't it?
Yeah, that really resonates. Do not sit upon a pack measure.
Don't live ignobly, don't be idle, maintain dignity, purpose, don't just settle.
On starting a journey, do not turn back.
Not about travel. It means live life fully without regret, so you don't look back with remorse at the end. A powerful life philosophy packed into a few words.
Do not walk in the public way. Avoid popular opinion.
Yeah, avoid the opinions of the multitude. Adopt those of the learned. Trust reasoned thought over mass belief.
Receive not swallows into your house.
Don't let gossips and intemperate people into your inner circle. Choose your company wisely. Protect your space.
Help a man to take up a burden, but not to lay it down. Encourage work, not laziness.
Exactly. Promote effort, self-reliance.
Do not carry the images of the gods in rings. Don't show off your beliefs.
More like, do not at once reveal opinions about gods to the vulgar. Be prudent about sharing sacred knowledge. Esoteric teachings aren't for everyone.
Offer libations, just to the ears of the cup. Worship with music.
Beautiful, right? Music penetrates through the ears, a direct path to the divine.
Roast not what is boiled. Don't misinterpret simple actions.
Yeah, don't assume malice or complexity when something's done out of ignorance or simplicity. Be understanding.
And never catch the cuttlefish.
Yeah.
Avoid shady deals.
Right. Its ink symbolizes darkness, intricacy. Stay away from murky affairs that could harm or stain you. It's amazing how these everyday instructions carry such deep symbolic weight, turning ordinary life into constant practice of virtue and philosophy. It really underscores how layered their whole system was. Everything had meaning. #6, persecution, legacy, and lasting influence.
But it wasn't all harmony and philosophy, was it? The story takes a dark turn. The Pythagoreans faced serious persecution.
Tragically, yes. Their unique, exclusive way of life inevitably created friction with the broader society. The sources talk about a conspiracy, often blaming a guy named Cylon of Crotona.
He was rejected by Pythagoras.
Apparently so. Wealthy, prominent, but seen as severe, turbulent, violent, Pythagoras turned him away, and Cylon became a bitter enemy, seeking revenge.
But maybe it was more than just personal revenge. Was there wider resentment?
Apollonius suggests that too. Pythagoras kept his teachings restricted, favored certain people. That bred suspicion. The exclusivity, the communal living where they shared goods even among themselves, perhaps neglecting family ties that alienated people, made them seem threatening or judgmental.
And politics played a role. Something about land distribution after capturing Cyprus.
Yes, that seems to have been a flashpoint. The common people wanted the land divided up. The Pythagoreans, being influential, might have been seen as blocking this fueled resentment. Cylon and this other figure, Nelon, who claimed he'd infiltrated their mysteries and wrote an exposé, fanned the flames.
Leading to actual violence.
Brutal violence. A mob attacked the Pythagoreans while they were gathered, sacrificing to the muses. Many were killed, others fled. A devastating blow.
What happened to Pythagoras himself?
He reportedly escaped that initial attack, fled to Metapontum, and died there later, maybe starvation, maybe old age. But the persecution spread Pythagorean riots across Italy and Sicily. Followers were targeted, meeting places destroyed.
It sounds like their communities were wiped out.
The physical communities largely were, yes. But if we connect this to the bigger picture, well, the persecution shows that clash between their discipline, maybe aristocratic style, and emerging democratic feelings. Their ideas were incredibly resilient.
They survived the violence.
And how? The sources make this really bold claim. Pythagoreanism was bodily adapted by Plato and Aristotle, who thereby made their fortunes.
Whoa, so Plato and Aristotle basically repackaged Pythagorean ideas.
That's the implication, that the real spring of Greek philosophy actually flows from Pythagoras. Plato's Timaeus, his big work on cosmology, is even called an amplification of an earlier work by a Pythagorean named Timaeus.
That's huge.
Yeah.
It suggests their influence is way deeper than we usually think.
It's crucial. So much of what we credit to Plato and Aristotle, the emphasis on math, the theory of forms, the philosopher king idea, even views on the soul, seems to have deep Pythagorean roots. Those fragments we have become vital for understanding the true lineage, this hidden river feeding Western thought.
Okay, so let's wrap this up. We've gone way beyond the theorem. What are the key takeaways from this deep dive into Pythagoras?
Well, first, definitely beyond the theorem. He was so much more a mystic, a healer, a community leader, a social reformer, a profound ethical philosopher, hugely multifaceted.
Second, that holistic philosophy. Everything connected, diet, music, exercise, politics, ethics, all part of one system aimed at purification and harmony.
Third, the power of hidden meanings. Those strange rules, those symbolic sayings, they weren't random. They were layered lessons, invitations to deeper understanding and self-mastery, seeing the profound in the everyday.
And finally, his enduring challenge. His ideas about reality, the soul, the pursuit of virtue, they still provoke us, still inspire people today, still relevant questions.
Absolutely. That insistence on interconnectedness, number, cosmos, diet, virtue, it offers this powerful way to see the world not as fragments, but as a unified, harmonious whole.
So for you listening, what does this all mean? If Pythagoras thought souls could be purified, returned to harmony through disciplined living, diet, even music, what neglected apparatus or massage for your own soul might you find? What small daily habit could unlock a deeper connection to that universal harmony he heard?
Maybe thinking about these ancient principles can offer new ways to navigate the noise, the perturbations, and tumults of our own lives. Maybe find your own path to a more integrated, more harmonious existence, inspired by a thinker from thousands of years ago.